Is the audio okay? Okay, so this is Spoon TV Live. We are coming to you from here today in Pinzio in GSA Road precisely. Where we are right now is an intellectual center. This place is actually called the Kuka Tunnel, meaning we are one, the Kuka Tunnel Intellectual Center here in the GSA Road community. I'd like to say welcome to all of you across the world. My name is Nelson Colette. You can give us update on the audio quality as you join us on this very important live broadcast right here today. Well, basically, we thought to do this broadcast because we want to get the views of Liberians. Most of you are aware that Liberia is one of those African countries that has been through a lot, so many years of civil unrest, over 1 decade of civil unrest was experienced in this country. Following that situation, Liberians saw a total of 250,000 lives that were lost in the process. Family members of some of those who are even still alive today were lost to the civil war in the country. It was a very terrible situation in the country. Up to now, the scars of the civil unrest in the country remains in every sector, is visible basically across every sector in the country. Following the civil war, so many Liberians expressed interest in the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in the country following the TRC that was set up, just to give a little background on the situation. And that debate has been on the floor since 20 years since the civil war came to a standstill, since the civil war ended. The discussion about establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court has been a major one within the corridors across the country. And so today there was a very important decision, what a lot of people would term as a landmark decision made by the House of Representatives, when members of that body, 40 members, including the Speaker, making it 51, signed and endorsed a resolution establishing War and Economic Crimes Court in the country. This is something that Liberians have been divided on, whether or not in this issue with respect to the establishment of the court is what we have come out here to establish from Liberians. And so I'd like to say welcome. Thanks for joining us on this very important broadcast. Well, just before we here, I want to speak briefly to the head of this intellectual center, so you can officially welcome us. Thanks for
platform where peasants, where ordinary citizens' views can be heard, and where our policy makers can share their opinions on matters happening regarding national and international concern. So we are happy, and officially on behalf of the leadership and the chairman, we'd like to welcome you to our center, and we'll open the floor where our members can share their view and opinion as regards the subject matter on discussion on this very important issue regarding the establishment of War and Economic Crime Court in Liberia, has been demonstrated by legislators today in the lower house. Thank you.
Okay, so very interesting. We're going to come back to you, but we want to kickstart the conversation with the very first person here today. So let's get the first gentleman coming to the microphone to tell us exactly how, where he stands with respect to this latest decision today. I want to say welcome. Thanks for joining us. You're live on Spoon TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. So what's your name, sir?
I'm Dave Yuma Fokonjulu.
Okay. So, Yuma, I want you to tell us, I believe that you've been following the conversation around the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in the country. First of all, how old were you when this whole thing about the civil unrest broke out?
I was at sensitive age.
Okay.
I felt the pain. I felt the sorrow. I am one of the victims. I went through it. I lost a lot of family members.
Okay.
My relatives were killed
in the process.
So my father was taboo. My brother suffered the consequences.
And it's a story that almost every Liberian has. I want you to you follow the situation today where the legislature overwhelmingly signed onto a resolution to establish the War and Economic Crimes Court in the country, where it's going to go to the Senate. But where do you stand? Do you support the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia?
Nelson, from the inception, I've seen Liberia as a playground. I've seen Liberia without War and Economic Crime Code as a play of unserious people.
Okay.
When you have a country that group of people came together to establish organizations to kill people senselessly, arguing as to what type of baby is over there. That girl, somebody said a boy.
Okay.
I said, okay, let's see. Then that mother dies, that child dies.
So do you support this court or not?
I should be a sponsor, in fact.
Okay, but why do you support the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court?
I support because I want for people who committed heinous crimes to be punished, so that to our unborn children and generation.
But a lot of people think that at this point we should be more concentrated on development. We should be thinking about how we can move our country forward. Development across the country is what people want, not the establishment of War Crimes Court. What do you think?
I don't think establishments of War Crime Code and Economic Crime Code serve as hindrance to development. I don't think so.
Okay.
Development is one side, and punishing people for what they've done against the rule of law is another thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's have the next gentleman right here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. What's your name?
My name's Abaski Kamadi Fresh, the left-wing radical tactical political activist.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of names. But it's good to have you on.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, I mean, did you experience the war? How old were you when this whole thing went on in this country?
Oh, just 1 year.
You were just a year old.
Yeah.
But judging from everything you've seen on the screen or listened to and all of that, where do you stand on the establishment of war?
As a matter of fact, against the establishment of economic or War Crime Court in our country.
You against the establishment?
Yeah. The reason use up to 300 million to establish a special court of Sierra Leone to prosecute just 4 persons. So those money will be using to hire lawyers. Why can't we use this money to develop our country? As a matter of fact, I've done surveying the 15 countries along with my other comrades. We have done our survey. We understand that from our survey, we understand from the people that yet we'll just be digging and we don't want to. So because of that, we are of War Crime Economic Crime Code.
Do you believe in justice?
I believe in it.
There are people who committed heinous crimes in this country during the dark days should not be penalized.
I'm telling you, country, president in this country, anything is needed. So the morning of the day, our country, I'm telling you, for my children to have money on lawyers or infrastructure, have a security as the first thing.
Wow.
So you don't have prison yet to get priests. You have
Court is established out of the country, like what we're getting now. What happens if the court is established in Ghana, for example?
So what person will benefit? The
No need.
If you were to
If you were to give an advice now, we are at a stage where the lower house has passed on it, the House of Representatives. It has been forwarded to the Senate. It was introduced today, as a matter of fact, in the Senate. If you were to give an advice to the senators, what would that advice be?
In fact, to even review that time, I think our senators should be the concession agreements, to review the concession agreements that will benefit our Liberian people
Instead of Thank you very much for
and
talking.
finally, establishment of the war crime economic in our country, or you can please join our movement. My name is
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abbas, for talking to us. Views on the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. Let's speak to the next gentleman. Let's know where he stands when it comes to this subject. Hello, welcome. What's your name, sir?
Thank you very much. My name is Martin Buer.
Mr. Buer, where do you stand on this? In fact, first of all, how old were you when the civil unrest took place in the country?
Well, I was just 2 years when the war came.
Okay.
But I was told that we were ran out of the country because we live near the border town between Liberia and that of Guinea. So we were rushed out of the country by our parents, our struggling parents. So we spent the rest of our life in exile.
Okay, so judging from everything you've heard about what happened during the war, how innocent people were killed, and loss of lives and everything during that period, and also considering the fact that it's been 20 years since everything was brought to a standstill. Liberia has experienced peace for 20 years. Do you still support the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in the country or not?
Well, for me, while it is true that justice is supposed to be served, but at this point, I am totally against the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Court at this time. It is belated. We are reconciled with one another since the TRC report in 2000, and TRC was set up in 2009, and there was voluntary confession. People went and confessed, and we reconciled with one another. So I think it's prudent enough for us that we have already overcome the past as a country. It is prudent enough that we focus on the far march of our countries.
But a lot of people think that justice should be served, especially in the case of those people who were were very innocent. They lost their lives for no reason. Some of those people had absolutely no part to play in what was happening, but they became victims. Some of their relatives are still around and they are calling for justice. Don't you think that justice should be served in those kinds of cases?
Justice has to be served, but looking at the establishment of War and Economic Crime Court in our country for now, for me, I see it as a political, witch hunt against some other individual that they think may have gone against their political interests.
Political witch hunt.
Political witch hunt.
Who do you think is wanting to carry on a political witch hunt in this case?
Because other people, other political activists, if they wanted justice, they are being at the horn of 12, 20, 15 years in the House of Parliament. And for the other states that we have sufficient evidence to prove those that were involved in the war guilty, it was the. But now we are overcome the hindrances and the loss of our power. We don't want to reawaken the sorrow and wound of our past. So I would like to recommend to this present government that our country we need energy. We need investors to come into our country to invest more. So if even he say he's taking the worker code from here to carry Ghana, the money you'll be using to transport lawyers from here and there, witnesses from here and there, the entire focus of the government will only be on war crime code. While other trending issue will be left undone.
No, let's put it this way, because I know part of your disagreement with this whole establishment of war crimes court is the is the resources that the government is going to be using in the process. You think that the resources can should be diverted to something else. But what if our international partners come in to aid us in this process, and maybe it gets to that point where they say, we only need you to be willing to give the go-ahead, we will aid you, we will provide all necessary support.
And so where were the international partners for the past 20 years that we enjoyed the peace? Where were they? Why they couldn't come immediately, since they really wanted for justice to be served for the people of Liberia? Where were they that they didn't come, from the onset of the time people were really in need of justice? They didn't come to establish the war and economic crime code. Why do they think that it is prudent now? So to the international community, if you all have money to be invested in our country, you all bring it through company, NGO, so we can work and earn something to develop our country.
Wow. Thank you very much for talking to us. What's your name again?
Martin S. Buer.
Okay, Martin Buer, thanks for talking to us. Folks, we stay up here. Of course, we will speak to more people here. This is where the young people, the older ones, and everyone get to gather every evening at the Cookout Tunnel Intellectual Center here on the GSA Road to talk about trending national issues. And I have a gentleman right before me here. Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, are you?
You want to come closer?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your name?
I'm Jose Mima, son of Lofa County.
You're a son of Lofa County.
Sure.
Okay, so Joseph, I want to predict that you did not experience the civil unrest.
No. Okay. Oh, yeah, child.
Okay, you were a child at the time, but I believe you've heard stories about everything that transpired.
I watch image and listen to story.
Okay, so based on what you've heard, documentations, what everything that has come up with respect to this, do you support war and economic crimes court or not?
For me, I'm a economic crime court.
You're in support of that?
Yes.
Why?
Okay. Actually, I was a child, but when I reached the age around 17, 18, and I watched image and listened to a story, and so many people were hurt. So many people were beaten, some people fought or caught. People will take race that will get shot here, they will get shot for. The child is in the woman who is man, no, IQ, no, la woman. So people will take a shot instrument and use it on the woman better and open it. How will you tell somebody you respect them? They say they should take all that tracks. How will you say, follow, I respect you, but give him one slap? Are you respecting somebody? I think those people should be penalized. If the court is in a habit.
Now, a lot of people think that at this point we should be more focused on reconciliation. We should reconcile the country. The people who committed the act should say sorry to everyone and let's move on. We should now give more priority to development and other things that will get our country moving forward. What do you think about that?
Liberia is not a church business to reconcile. If you are caught in a house, punish.
Okay, so anyone caught in the act or anyone who is brought down guilty should be penalized.
You go through justice.
What sort of impact do you think this is going to have on the democracy that we now enjoy?
Because everything should be a rule of law.
Okay.
So democracy is for against democracy. So if you are against democracies, you should be penalized. Okay. So I think those people that are here, or when they come to different countries, you should be penalized for that. So democracy is for us.
So if you were to give one advice to the senators before whom the bill is now moving, those people that are going to be making the next cycle of decision on this thing, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, I think if the government is trying to do that, I think I give them A+ for that. Okay. They are there for us. We vote for them.
People say war crimes code is witch hunt. Certain people are trying to target certain group of people.
You know, so? When they say witch hunt, people refer to our government. They have to go back of war. So if they say the war crime code is all about witch hunt, then they refer to our government, that our government is a witch hunt government. Because for us, we are there.
When you say our government,
I'm a United Partisan.
Okay, thank you. What was the name again?
Jose M. Smith on Lova County.
Okay, Joseph Smith, thanks for talking to us. So this is Spoon TV. I'm Nelson Colette. Thanks to our guy Ernest Bena behind cameras. We will gather a few more views. We'll talk to a few individuals here, and then shortly we'll be drawing down the curtains. We thought to come up here and gather the views of Liberians on this issue that has to do with the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. Where do they stand? We have a gentleman before us here. Hello, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, Dami Morris.
Mr. Morris.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Okay. So, did you have an experience of the civil unrest in this country?
Yeah, I'm old enough to have experienced the civil crisis in Liberia.
Okay. Now, what was your worst experience? Just in the summary, what was your worst experience?
Okay, so a lot of bad things happens during the civil crisis. I saw babies who got malnourished, and you could see them swelling up and they die in their majority. I could see people being killed only because of their tribe. I saw people being killed because they have mark on their legs from tying of boots. I saw people being killed because of their religion. I saw people being killed only because they work in previous government.
Now, with all of what you saw, where do you stand on this issue? This discussion, this whole conversation about the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. Do you support it or not?
I support the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Court.
Why?
This will bring justice to the victim, and it will heal a lot of wounds and will close the chapter of people having to commit heinous crime and go with impunity. This is the main reason I am in support.
You want the issue of impunity to be addressed?
Exactly. Because when you look at our country, those that committed heinous crimes, they still have grip on the country politically and economically. You see them in the corridors of our governance system. We see them in the corridor of our economic system. They control people. Some of them, when their names are heard, those names bring fear to our people. So it is also on the side of those that are accused to go there and exonerate themselves, so that if people are lying on them, the truth can be brought forth, and if they will be set free, they can be set free.
Don't you think reconciliation and focusing on development is of more priority at this time than war crimes court?
Don't forget, there's no way there can be genuine reconciliation and development in the absence of justice. Justice is the bedrock for the two, development and any other thing. No investors will come to your country to invest when your country is lawless. When a group of people will wake up one day and go somewhere and commit heinous crimes and destroy lives and property only in the name of reconciliation and forgiveness, then I mean.
But do you believe in forgiveness? Do you believe that people should forgive?
Oh yes, people should forgive. But people.
But why don't you think this should apply in the case of the war crimes court?
Listen, the victims of the war, they are no more. Of course, but they had nothing to do for which they went through what they went through. And those who committed those heinous crimes are still here masquerading in the corridors. And we see them, some of them are very boastful. So, having them among us and showing no remorse, and you want us to forgive them without having them to be prosecuted, is something else.
So you believe in forgiveness, but you think when it comes to the issue of war and economic crimes court, it doesn't apply here?
No, not at all. Because even the Bible, right? The Bible speaks of forgiveness, but there is also punishment for sins.
Wow. But let me conclude with you on this note. It's been 20 years since Liberia saw peace. the argument that most people have put forward is that some of the perpetrators are no more. Some of the people who committed those acts, they're not around anymore. Some of them have passed, and from that background, they think that, look, 20 years of peace is just significant enough to get us moving on.
Okay, thank you. If you look at the issue of war crimes, I don't think there is a statute of limitation on the issue of war crime, because if you look at World War II, for example, the Nazi days, people are still investigating people who committed heinous crimes in World War II. Dating from other hero time. Okay. So there's not a statute of limitation on that.
Okay. So finally, and I mean very finally, if the Unity Party government succeeds in establishing this War and Economic Crimes Court, is it going to affect their chances come 2029, or is it going to be a plus for them?
Okay, so there is a two-way street in this. When you look at how, when it comes to election, how things shift from people giving support to one side, they might take some, and on the other hand, they might lose some.
Okay.
Politically.
Okay. So on the overall,
it will be a plus to them. But I want to encourage them on one thing. Like one of my colleagues said, they should not just focus their attention only on war and economic crime code.
Okay.
Whereas there are other pertinent issues in the country that need to be taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you. So we're going to speak to the next individual here. Yes, and you heard him. He said forgiveness is very important. He believes that people should forgive. We should not hold things against people. But when it comes to the issue of war and economic crimes court, no, it doesn't apply here. The law should be the law. We have another gentleman before us. Hello, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Patrick Gamu.
Okay.
Member of the Kukatono Intellectual Forum.
Mr. Jiko, I want you to give us an idea here. Did you experience the civil unrest we had in this country?
For sure. I accumulated around the 6 to 7 years old during the war.
Okay.
Yeah, so I experienced it.
What was the worst experience?
The worst experience that I had was at the age of 6 to 7 and seeing their bodies wasting. All right, the lives of innocent people, children, women, being lost in their lives along the roadside, and people being homeless, people taking the street, sleeping all along the street during the time, and all in the bushes, people lying down there among the terrible animals. Wow. Some of them are which that were affected through the bites of snakes, and people were just homeless.
Worst experiences.
Yeah.
So, given all of what you've explained, do you support the establishment of war and economic crimes?
First of all, I want to begin by congratulating and appreciating the family of the television team for actually engaging into the initiative. And one thing about this situation is that I appreciate the discussion, and I support 100%.
Support.
Yeah, the establishment of the war crime and economic court in Liberia. I support that 100%.
No, some Liberians think that we should move on. It's been 20 years. We should just reconcile and move our country forward. Is it going to be of any extra benefit if we were to see the establishment of this court in the country?
Yeah, that would be an additional or added benefit to our country for practicing pure democracy. I see that would be.
Democratically,
yeah,
it's going to be a plus for us.
It's going to be a plus for us.
So you support the establishment?
The establishment of the economic and war crime court.
Now, the next stage is at the Senate. What would be your own advice to senators? What would you like to say to them now that it's going before them?
Yeah, as the is going before them, I want to urge them, encourage them as like-minded Liberians who believe in democracy and the rule of law. We believe that it's going to be prudent enough that they take a serious stand on the coming or the establishment of the economic and the war crime code in Liberia.
Some people say this is witch hunt. Some people are pushing this thing because they want to target other people.
I see that not as a witch hunt, but I see that as a way of exercising transparency.
Now, because the thing here is, once this code is established, some big hairs are going to roll.
Yeah, the issue about establishing the war crime code, I see that as a way of uprooting those who have seriously affected our country negatively, and who are also busting through the corridor as gaining wealth. Yeah.
Okay.
They are all around the country.
What do you want to say in closing?
All right, so I want to appreciate the forum. I want to appreciate you guys for this initiative, that you can go around soliciting the views of Liberians who are interested, and we are saying that 100% we support this issue. We are calling on the international community with no delay that this issue about the economic and war crime code should be established.
One final question. Is this going to be a plus or a minus for the Unity Party administration?
Before I answer that question, I want to retrospect 20 years back.
Yeah.
When Liberians were calling on the international community to investigate these guys, and there have been delays politically for some political reason. Now, if this government will embark on that and succeed in it, as a like-minded Liberian, for me, I believe that it will be a plus for them.
A plus?
Yes, I believe that it will be a plus for them.
Security-wise, it's like.
Yeah, we will have to be supported. The capacity will be built, and Liberians will have the time also to do what they're supposed to do.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so then we are going to close with the Secretary General himself, the big man here at the Kukatono Intellectual Center. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine.
Again, you want to tell our folks who you are?
My name is John K. Doro. I'm the Secretary General here at Kukatono, Liberia.
Okay. So, did you experience a civil unrest?
Yes, I experienced particularly in 1996 inclusion. 1996.
Okay.
That was my experience. I had a difficult time where I received straight bullet on my knee. I had to walk from my residence in Congo Town and pass through the SKD Boulevard and went all the way walking through to a local town where my auntie resided. And along the way, I saw a lot of things. We had to eat kokodoro along the road. So it was quite challenging, quite embarrassing, and quite stressful.
Wow. With all of what you experienced, do you support this conversation on the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court?
I support the establishment of the Economic and War Crime Code, but with reservation. And if those reservations are not critically looked at, I will not in its entirety support the establishment.
What are the reservations? And I believe the folks out there are eager and they want to know exactly what those reservations are.
For example, in Liberia, the Rome Statute, before the coming to full of the Rome Statute, all of our wars and major event took place. That is before 2002.
Yeah.
There is no law right now that will really take effect on persecuting those who committed atrocity before 2002. And if you look at, there were several peace agreements. Seven peace agreements are broke up because the continual firing of guns and war could not cease in Liberia. It was the warlords who took on their time to sign for a peace agreement in 2003 in Accra. So as part of the reconciliation and resolution, there were tables, things put before the table, one of which was the TRC, and of course we saw what the TRC recommended, and we think that even the recommendation of the TRC was in itself selective.
Wow. So your reservation, the first reservation is what?
For example, established laws. Right now, in Liberia, you cannot establish a code except by legislation. Right now,
which is going on now.
Yes, the point is, in Liberia, at this point, if we establish a code, everything has to do with the constitution has to be reviewed, because in 1986 there were several provisions of the law that banned people that committed atrocities during the coup in Liberia. Those people were protected. Constitution, they are still protected today. So those who committed the act cannot be prosecuted by law, and we are aware that in Liberia during the National Transition Legislative Assembly, they also passed immunity act that protected war.
Now, this is a very important point, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up. With that in mind, do you and interestingly, you said you support the establishment of the court, but you have these reservations. Is this going to be a wasted effort, or is it something that is going to bring about the kind of result that a lot of people are anticipating, given what you just said?
I think it's going to be a wasted effort. I must be sincere.
But why are you supporting something that's going to be a wasted effort?
Because the first thing, you need to address some of the issues that were laid bare before the coming to full of this calling for establishment of war. For example, there were issues raised on the issue of banning certain people from contesting. The people still allow the people to contest, right? There were calls for the president of Liberia to publicly apologize. All the recommendations were not adhered to. Those people were elected. For example, there are major people in Liberia. Thomas Yaya Nimle from Kenchi County were recently elected as senator.
Yeah.
You have Senator Prince Johnson from Nima County. He has been overwhelmingly elected for 27 years, giving a man of such 27 years power. That shows that from the report of the Bennett report following the 2009 analysis of the TRC recommendations, about 47.3% of the people statement gave us that they forgave those people.
Yeah.
So if you look at retribution and restoration, what do you expect after nearly 22 years of civil conflict and almost everybody who majorly participated? You have people like Honorable Yega Koroba today is in the legislature. If Liberians really meant what they wanted, they should have called for the prosecution of those people, and in fact not elected them to the helm of power. We saw President Sally Johnson be elected.
Interestingly, in the midst of everything you've outlined, those reservations that you have, in the face of everything, in the very presence of some of those lawmakers you've named, this process is going on. Representative Yeke Koluba, for example, have consistently called for this. In fact, he's one person who voted for the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. Do you think they're playing some games, or what do you think? Because yes, good enough, you cited the constitutional provision, yes, and some agreements that they went into just as part of the process to calm the situation during the dark days. But with what we see going on now, and some of the very warlords, quote unquote, or alleged warlords, supporting this court establishment, is it a game or what?
It is actually a game, because the TRC report granted them amnesty. Besides, there were 37 others that were named because the TRC said they came willing, they testified, they apologized, so therefore they were free and exempted from prosecution should the court be established.
Yeah.
So they were free. So those people who are being free are the ones who are just trying to, because they know, for example, they feel that Liberia is incapacitated. For example, in Liberia, if you have to establish a tribunal in Liberia, you need, that is a special law code, you need special law lawyers. In Liberia, we don't have no qualified lawyer that can plead before a tribunal, with the exception of Sima Serena Seaford. There's no special law lawyer in Liberia that can plead in a tribunal. And going beyond that, do we have the capacity in terms of security, in terms of infrastructure?
What do you think? Do we have the capacity? Let me throw back the question to you.
At the moment, I think that Liberia don't have the capacity. We just saw that in the first 1 month of this administration, the president has requested for the $1.3 million just to pay civil, saying up to now as we speak. for the month of February. We are in March. So to tell you that the government of Liberia is not really prepared, and looking at what happened, judging from what happened for 22 years, I think we need reconciliation. That is instead of retributive justice.
Mr. SG, we're about to conclude with you, but seriously, the points are coming through, but I'm trying to connect certain things. From the onset, you said you support the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, but now you're talking about reconciliation after talking about some reservations you had. So, I mean, where exactly are you leading us?
Well, I'm leading to the point that we need to understand that judging on those who made sacrifices in calling for the peace we enjoy today in Accra, they also deserve some level of respect, and they also deserve some level of.
So they should not be included in whatever the penalties would be.
Not exactly. Should we follow all of the laws? For example, all of the laws that are on the book, the immunity, the 9 States Constitution,
so they should be amended.
All the laws need to be amended, reviewed. Once all of the laws are amended, they are reviewed, and now it can give ground. But right now, there's constitutional crisis. You cannot establish a court in the absence of repeating all of the laws. It will not take effect. Wow. Besides, even if you have a judge, you will only be rendering judgment based upon those who committed atrocity after 2002, because the rule statute that established the War and Economic Crime Code is Liberia signed onto it in 2002. So only 1 year between, which is just 2003, that was just the layer model inclusion. Wow. So it will be a waste of money, spending on a huge amount of money just to establish a code to prosecute people who are very old, 89 years, 70 years, 75 years. It will be a lot. Yeah, just waste money and see how we can put into reconciliation power, hot discussion, and also look at all the existing laws that are on the book. We need to review it first.
So finally, if the Unity Party succeeds in establishing this court, is it going to be a plus or a minus for them?
Well,
politically, come 2029,
it will not be a plus for them because they started it in 2005 and 6. The campaign on that mantra of bringing war and economic crime code, but when they took power, they did not do it. They did not do it.
Okay, you're talking about Unity Party as an institution.
Of course.
Okay, let's talk about the administration of President Buer. Is it going to be a very unique legacy for him or not?
I still doubt it because President Buer now was serving as vice president. Those 12 years, he signed under all of those laws. It did not take effect. He did not make a putsch. What is the guarantee? Even if the legislature with the lower house are passing today and the upper house has to pass it, what is the guarantee?
Okay.
We don't have the guarantee because he served 12 years as vice president. We will not get assurance for anything.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, on the way during a campaign, there were people who supported him from the War Economic Crime Code calling for it. There were people who were from the warring faction that supported in the Prince Johnson. They all supported. We don't know the deal in how with those people. So we don't know what is actually happening. So the guarantee of the establishment of the war,
I think there's no guarantee.
Question, yes.
Okay. So again, we want to say thank you. Anything you want to say in closing, just before we end this interview?
Thank you. I want to close on this very note. It's very important and very powerful. Liberia is a sovereign state, and we want to call on the global ambassador at large of the United States of America that Liberia is a sovereign state, just as the United States of America do not adhere to the ICC. Similarly, Liberia has its own right to establish its own tribunal, and we cannot, for information we are gathering, that our code should go to Ghana and so forth. Liberia should be able to establish our own code, deal with our own issues, and some of the things that happen can be adjudged in our local jurisprudence or the establishment of tribunal, especially given the fact that the war have already ended. Okay. 22 years have gone by.
Wow.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for joining us. It's been a great time having you on here. Thanks a lot to you and your entire team Thanks for giving us the time to talk, to be here with us. We appreciate you a whole lot.
Thank you on behalf of the leadership, our national chairman, Chairman Rivers Olabo. We want to appreciate you. We look forward to always engaging with you and the Spoon Network. We want to appreciate the CEO for always reaching out to ensure that our views are heard on serious, critical national issues. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, he's the Secretary General.
Yes,
of
Kukaton, Liberia.
Okay.
I'm John K. Dolo.
And his name is John K. Dolo, the Secretary General of the Kukatono Intellectual Center. Well, folks, this has been a special interview out here at this Intellectual Center, trying to gather the views of some Liberians on this issue that has to do with the establishment of war and economic crimes court in our country. A lot of you know that some progress have been made towards that. The bill was introduced at the House of Representatives, the House lawmakers, including the speaker, making it for the one person signed onto that resolution. Is going before the Senate. It was introduced on the floor today at the Liberian Senate, as a matter of fact. So that means in the coming days, maybe the next session, the Senate is going to be discussing this very critical issue. Liberians are divided on this when it comes to the establishment of war and economic crimes court. Like you heard from so many of the guys, some people think that at this point it's important for us to reconcile, focus on development, and just move ahead, move our country forward, while other Liberians think that at this point, no, the people who committed those acts, the perpetrators, should still be brought to book, regardless whether they're 80 years old, whether they're 90 or 120 years old. Those people should still be brought to book. They believe that justice, once served at this point, will set the deterrence for would-be doers of the act in the future. I want to say thanks to all of you for watching. My name is Nelson Colette. Thanks to my producer Ernest Bernard for being here behind cameras, of course, making sure that you get all of the feeds. We'd like to end this special broadcast here. Coming up shortly on the Spoon Network is Spoon Talk, and of course the guest tonight will be Councillor Jerome Verdier, and you don't want to miss that. Until then, have a good night and bye bye for now.